Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about monitor spirits. And this is actually a topic I don't even think to talk about, especially from people who get black tourmaline from me. That's the easiest way to get rid of a monitor spirit. They can't be around you when you have any kind of black tourmaline near you. It has to be cleansed and charged though. Even though it's not cleansed and charged, sometimes it'll still ward them off. But this is a very good topic for some people who just, maybe you have a past and you've had an enemy in the past, right? And for some reason, your enemy can pick up on everything you're doing. And it's like, okay, this enemy is not spiritual. This enemy just knows everything in the next move all the time. Like, what's going on? It's probably because 95% chance it's a monitor spirit. It could be a monitor lower level demon as well, which they have a lot more information and they'll spill a lot more tea, but it's more at a cost versus they'll just do it for fun and energy. Monitor spirits are pesky. Like, they're like gnats. They're like flies and mosquitoes. And once you spray a little something, they'll just drop. They'll go. This is a really good video to teach about. I'm teaching from my car again because, yeah, I don't need people pulling up on bicycles being like, hey, what kind of video are you shooting? And I'm like, I'm talking. But monitor spirits are just really lower level spirits because there's a hierarchy of spirits. There's a large hierarchy of spirits. Angelic spirits are basically what I call angels. And I don't mean to confuse people, but everything has a type of spirit to it. Basically, an angel is a spirit that's never been human, pretty much. But the thing is, they are assigned to be the helpers of humanity and to help people. There's demonic spirits. There's spirits who pretend to be demons. There's spirits who act like angels just because of the good things that they do in the afterlife. I don't mean to confuse anyone. I'll make another video on the hierarchy of different spirits because it's really important for people to know. There's a lot more out there than what's even online, etc. Talking about monitor spirits, this is something I don't even think to talk about. I'm like, well, it's not really important because they're not really around. But for some people people will come to me like, how does this person in a different country know everything about my boyfriend, for example? And I'm like, I'll say to the person, like, I'll tell her, I'm like, well, she has basically monitor spirits checking up on him to see who he's with, how he's doing, etc. And that person doesn't even need to do a reading. Like, for some reason, it'll just be a part of that person's intuition. You're like, okay, this person intuitively knew that I was going on vacation with, let's say, because I was using a specific person and as an example, like a specific story with monitor spirits, but because this is not as common as it really, it's common enough, but it's not as common as it is when you have black tourmaline around you. But when it comes to monitor spirits, you have to keep in mind that everything's monitoring you all the time. We live on this earth in the plane of existence where basically everything's here. There's demons around, there's angels around, but it depends who you're being closest perceived by. So when it comes to guardian angels, for example, your guardian angel is probably the closest thing to you. There are ancestors as well who kind of act like guardian angels, but most common is a guardian angel. Or even when your ancestor is nearby, your guardian angel is helping your ancestor help you, just indirectly. Your guardian angel is not the kind of being to be like, oh, I did all of this and I need a thank you. No, that's not the case at all. So basically with a guardian angel, and people, it's not bicycles, it's cars now, but people want to know what kind of video I'm making. Like, what kind of video? And even, it's a good example as well. People will be like, because monitor spirits, they're literally bored. So they'll be like, okay, what's the tea? What's the drama? Because they talk to each other. Well, monitor spirits will be in touch with certain lower level demons, which even the lowest level demon, the lowest level monitor spirit will be nice and friendly sometimes, but you can be evil and you can be nice and friendly. People confuse that. People can be the most evil, sinister people on this entire planet, but they could be nice and friendly. It doesn't show. Same thing with monitor spirits, same thing with lower level demons, is that they'll be nice and sweet and like, oh, you heard, and they'll say, for certain people who are in contact with monitor spirits or monitor lower level demons, they will seem like the most mystical of people ever. You'll be like, this person knows everything. The person actually doesn't know everything to the point where they're just getting secondhand information that they were not even supposed to share, and they're gossiping about it, basically. It's basically spiritual gossip. They're spiritual gossipers. Monitor spirits, a portion of them, the ones who do have enough energy, will monitor you so they can try to block you from certain opportunities, but you can't blame a monitor spirit for blocking off all your opportunities. That's you. No one spirit can do all that to you. There's a spiritual law in place so that doesn't happen. People tend to blame monitor spirits for absolutely everything. Like, oh, I went to get a... This is an actual story. Oh, I don't mean to be calling people out for all the people watching the video, because at this point I'm not even calling people out, because this is so many different people. For example, someone who said, oh, I went to get a job, and I told everyone, and the monitor spirit stopped me from getting the job. I'm like, well, you actually told everyone, so you're evil. You got evil eye. Don't blame monitor spirits on that. But monitor spirits are basically, you're at home, you're chilling, you feel like something's watching you, but etc. Very interesting. The most amount of information a monitor spirit can pick up on you is when you're nearby a mirror. A mirror. They will pick up, because it's literally a portal. It's a multi-dimensional portal where that monitor spirit has a lot easier of a time picking up and saving information from when it's watching you. If you ever pay attention, if you're on the phone in front of a mirror, for some reason, all these other people are somehow included in whatever you were talking about, and that person you were talking to probably didn't say anything to anyone. Unfortunately, even as much black tourmaline you can put around a mirror, those monitor spirits are still watching you. It's just how the world works. Like I said, they're monitor spirits because it's fun for them. If that person, for example, the spirit of the person is in the afterlife, and that person had all the tea, like that person, they went to the playground. I'm using a playground as an example. I'm upping my examples. That person went, let's just say Rwanda went to the playground, and she's talking to Syria. My names have gotten wonderful, right? Rwanda is talking to Syria now. Oh, I need to have like a name list nearby so I can make example names. And when this happens, like, she goes to the playground, she's talking, and she's spilling all the tea, she's spilling all the gossip. And I mean, I'm making this video and people are literally sneaking up out of bushes watching me. I wish I could point the camera, but someone who works at a restaurant, but just on break. But the thing is, when Syria meets Rwanda at the playground and she spills all this gossip and all this tea, she knows she's not supposed to be talking about other people. She knows she's not supposed to be talking bad about things and bad in general, being nosy, sharing information, etc. But it gives them a sense of satisfaction, and it gives them a sense of energy. Even though it's not light, it's still energy when they're in darkness. So it energizes them and acts as a false light when they're in the darkness. Same thing with monitor spirits. It's juicy for them. It's very juicy. It's like, oh, cool. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Like, they'll just be like, they'll say some of the wildest things. And I don't recommend anyone even listens to a monitor spirit, because the absolute second you accept information from a monitor spirit or a lower level demon is when your information spilled as well. So everything someone reads, writes down, etc. will just be out there, and it will be used against them in some way, shape, or form. Monitor spirits will have information that'll be secondhand, but be able to be used against you. Or even if no one's using the information against you, somehow that knowledge of the information, and you better believe these monitor spirits don't actually know everything, to the point where if they only get some information, because they only have enough energy to get some information sometimes. So they don't know the full story. They don't know the full other part of the information. So they'll add to it. They'll be like, well, I think it went this way. Or like, they'll make it spicy. If it was boring, they'll sugarcoat the truth. They'll add to the truth. And now it's exciting. It's like, oh, I'm going to give you an example. Do you know that, I can't be using people's name as an example. You know that, because I'm not a good people name user. Last time I used Sharknado as a name. I don't know where that came from, but, Rwanda was, Rwanda, when she talks, they'll tell people how other people talk. They'll basically give you habits and what they write down. Do you know when she goes home, she writes down in her diary, she talks about how she wishes she was an airplane. She wishes that she was a machine, or I'm just using ridiculous examples because I don't feel like using any examples because, like I said, they'll be like, oh, what do you mean? Here's a better example. Did you know that Rwanda is talking to Lebanon? These name examples. You know that A is talking to B and C's girlfriend or boyfriend, and then like they're gonna meet at this time at this place, and it's gonna be so like it's gonna be wait till you see what happens. And these monitor spirits are bored. They're bored. You don't get involved in people's gossip in life. Why would you do it in the afterlife? Don't get involved in monitor spirits gossip, because as soon as you get involved in that monitor spirits gossip, it's taking gossip from you as well. Same thing that applies in life to the afterlife. I hope you get these examples, because I have to have better name examples in the future, because I'm just using A, B. Well, A, B, and C might be better. Don't quote me on any name examples, but when it comes to monitor spirits, just get rid of them. They don't like sea salt. They don't like black tourmaline. They don't like many crystals. The black crystals specifically. They really abhor obsidian, which means highly dislike obsidian. Obsidian will keep a lot of them from coming back. Obsidian will also keep away whatever attracted that monitor spirit to you. So something about us will attract the monitor spirit. Just not even if you could be 100% good and still attract a monitor spirit just because of a certain energy aspect you didn't know you had around you. But this is really helpful for people, because you're like, okay, all this information about monitor spirits, how does this apply? Like, what does this do? Because these people who don't deserve to have information on you, or something you wanted to have kept private, or some kind of something about you, could have been something you written down, it could have been a place you went, it could have been someone you talked to, and now it's in someone else's intuition because of a monitor spirit is telepathically communicating all of your information to someone who you barely know, or someone who's gossipy, and this person's spilling all the gossip about you when it's not even gossip. They're just adding stuff onto the truth and making your life a lot more complicated. That's what monitor spirits do. There's a portion of time where a monitor spirit will try to stop you from doing something, such as getting a job, but most of the time they can't really do that because they're low energy. Just like people who are gossiping about you constantly. If you just starve them of energy, guess what? They can't really do much. They don't have energy to begin with. That was interesting to them, for them to be gossiping, to be a low vibration. And now they ended up in a low vibrational place. Like I said, I've never even thought about actually, I have thought about it, but not in depth talk about monitor spirits, because once you wear black tourmaline, these things are offended by the tourmaline. They're like, I gotta go. Like, keep in mind, there are spiritual laws that the crystals that you wear help you meet. So a dark entity cannot be this distance, a close distance to you, if you're cleansing and charging your black tourmaline, and if you have good intentions. They just can't. It's a spiritual law that's literally properties in the gemstone of tourmaline. Keep in mind, tourmaline blocks EMF, electromagnetic radiation, or frequencies. And same thing with EMF. It blocks enemy missile fire. Think about it like this: your enemies can't get missiles if the monitor spirits are not sending the missiles. How cool is that? This is a really simple video. Let's talk about monitor angels. Why are the angels monitoring you? To make sure you're safe, to make sure you're fine, to make sure you're happy, to make sure you're on the highest path you can be on. Why are spirits monitoring you? Or just you're having monitor spirits and you don't even know who they are. They're not there to help. They're just watching you. Why are they watching you? Energy. Everything's energy. Energy's a payment. That's why when you meditate, you pay your guides attention. You make them stronger every time you meditate. From when you meditate 1 year, an entire year of consistent meditation, some of your guides will be ridiculously strong and you not even know it. Like, some of you will have guides who are just able to move stuff. It takes them a lot of energy to do that, but let's just say after a certain point, your guides will be able to move the stones that you wear because they have so much energy. It does cost them energy, but sometimes they will. For example, sounds wild, but your guides can counter fairies stealing things. Because if the fairy stole it, they'll bring it right back. I've seen that too. I've had fairies steal amber after I didn't protect that area that I put the crystals on because I was in a different place. But it's just interesting. Monitor angels, they're to protect you, they're to make sure you're doing well. Monitor spirits, they're picking up information, they're picking up energy, they're picking up tea. And you should never include yourself in tea, because guess what? Even in life, when someone's gossiping and they include you into the gossip, congratulations, you're a part of their lesson, you're a part of their karma. But you'll find out what that actually means because you learn. It can mean the loss of family members being close to you, friends being close to you, your relationship, etc. You don't get involved in gossip when you're dead or when you're alive. Monitor spirits are very gossipy. That's why when you keep black tourmaline around, people have a tough time connecting to you, number one, and they have a tough time getting close to you. They have a tough time figuring out what you're doing and when you're doing it. It's tough because you have a wall up. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.